I got several requests for chocolate cake, so I thought of doing dark chocolate mud cake today. For this recipe, I'm using 250 grams of softened butter. Then I have 2 cups of caster sugar and half a cup of milk, and I'm using a quarter cup of strong black coffee, or even you can up to half a cup if you like it very strong. Then going to use a teaspoon of vanilla, then half a cup of sherry or brandy or whiskey you can use in this recipe. If you are not using any alcohol, you can use apple juice instead of the alcohol. And then I have 1.5 cups of plain flour with a quarter cup of self-raising flour, or you can use either plain flour and use half a teaspoon of baking powder instead. Then going to use 25 grams of cocoa powder, or you can use a little bit more to make it more darker, and 2 eggs, and going to use a 9-inch square cake pan. It has to be a little deeper. So what I'm going to do first is going to beat the butter and sugar in a mixing bowl. So I added the sugar and the butter. So going to mix this about 2-3 minutes until it's creamy and fluffy. After beating it until creamy, I'm going to add the eggs, and I forgot to show you the dark chocolate I'm going to use in this recipe, 200 grams. So I'm going to add this into the milk and boil this until it's smooth and it's almost melted, and I'm going to add that into this mix too. So into the eggs and the sugar and the butter, I'm going to add the coffee and then the cocoa powder, and going to mix that again another minute. Now going to add the vanilla and the eggs one by one. So I melted the chocolate and the milk, so I'm going to leave that to cool down a bit. While doing that, going to add the flour into the mixing bowl and mix it slowly with the other ingredients, adding the sherry, or you can add any other kind of alcohol. And when you make a mud cake, you can do all this in a pot too without adding the flour. Add all the other ingredients into a pot and do it until it melts the chocolate, and then you can add the flour after 15 minutes and do it as it is. So I'm going to mix this and going to add the chocolate and the milk mix little by little into the flour mix. Now I greased the baking tray and going to pour this into the baking tray and going to bake this 180 about 1 hour to 1.5 hours. So I finished baking the cake and it took nearly 1 hour and 10 minutes for me. So what I'm going to do is going to leave this on the tray about 10 minutes and going to transfer this on wire racks. And if you want to do a chocolate ganache on top, use half a cup of cream with 200 grams of chocolate and melt that on the stove and leave it to stand about 15 minutes on the side. And then when it is thick, spread it on the cake, and always use it upside down when you do a ganache, and so it will be nice with the ganache. And I hope you will enjoy this. Thank you for watching.